Well, well. It's Thursday, May 18th. Can you believe it? May 18th. Holy mackerel. Where's this month gone? Yesterday was Wednesday. We had our two unbelievable cleanup people. Cleans our place once every 2 weeks. I'd really like to have them come every once a week. But I got overruled by our mistress. Miss Marilyn said, "Man, let's just leave it at once every 2 weeks for now." Okay. And I just like 'em. Yeah, they rush around to get things done. They amazing to be 35 and that's a guess. Have all kinds of energy. When you get twice their age, I guess the energy level just goes down just a tad. I'm forgetting. I'm good for getting 3 things done in a day, and that's about it. Then I get tired out, and watch. So we had big news with the dorm report. The liberal says, "Oh, it's a big whoop." It wasn't a report that asked for uh, indictments. They weren't seeking indictments. The purpose of the report was not that. It was to find out, what's with this Russia, this thing that Trump saying is, a bunch of baloney. Well, guess what? That report was a huge indictment on the FBI itself. And not the 20 or 30,000 people in the FBI that work hard every day and do their thing and execute their missions. On the 7th floor. The 7th floor needs to be eliminated and repopulated. I happen which, many people, younger, younger people, yeah, we the people, the Constitution, and the Declaration of Independence. We the people. In order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty for ourselves and our posterity, to ordain and establish this Constitution for the United States of America. Article 1. The legislative powers herein granted shall be vested in a Congress of the United States, which shall consist of a Senate and a House of Representatives. So the That's section 1. And section 2 is the House of Representatives. They got to be 25 years or older. The Senate shall consist of 2 senators from each state for 6-year terms. House of Representatives have 2-year terms. That means every elections are every 2 years. The entire House of Representatives is up for election every 2 years. So it really shows what's going on in the country. The House of Representatives gets a little bit too frisky, he's gone. So just going through the entire, just to see what's the story on the FBI. There was nothing in here about an FBI. There is nothing that says that we're to have a national police force running around checking on people on whatever they do domestically. It's strictly domestic. You know, 40, 50 years ago, they chased after bank robbers. I think they still do. Anyway, then you got the amendments to the Constitution. 10 popular myths. 10 popular myths, misunderstandings about the Constitution. Myth. It's a living document. Eh, no, it's not a living document. It's a dead document. Its writings are in indelible ink. Now they can be, you know, changed by law. There's a supermajority of the states have to vote on an amendment to the Constitution. It's in there. I mean, it's amazing how you can see, the amount of text in a page from page 11 to page 41, which includes amendments 27. So I was just trying to see where's the formation of the FBI. There is no formation of the FBI. I, I suggest every one of you out there in TV land there's the ISBN number. Of booklet. What you got on? I believe I got it on Amazon.com. Forget everything else. This was printed in Columbia, South Carolina on the 29th of March, 2021. So, something we haven't had a. Anyway, it's something that everybody should have a copy of handy instead of having to run and look into a World Book Encyclopedia or something. In order to form more perfect. Wait, took them about 4 months to completely write and negotiate every ingredient of the Constitution before they was that to be the government document for our country over 200 years ago. Wow. It's like 9 generations ago. They usually say 25 years as a generation. So 4 generations per 100 years. So the biggest thing that hit the fan was this business with Trump. And oops, I'm going the wrong way. I use this pictorial, this pictorial thing. It kind of gives me direction on what's going on. Oh, you know what? Well, I was thinking about all this. I had my iPhone working in the background. And look who popped up. I don't know. Let's have this. There we go. That's compelling. That is absolutely compelling. Isn't it? Phew. Taylor Swift. There's another picture. MTV Awards. She wins everything. She plays the guitar, she sings, she writes. I mean, and you listen to the music, it's just it's spectacular music. Oh, God. Playing. Well, I guess I got to plug it in here, and it's. Oops, sorry, it's not. Oh, well. Anyway, Taylor Swift is. That's not her. Here she is. Look at that picture. Oof. Zoom in. Look, there's. There it is. Zoom in a little tighter. What a performer! And she didn't even graduate from American Idol. But anyway, her latest tour, she's going on tour, will net her $1 billion. Her ticket prices are like, I have something on ticket prices. Hmm. Let me look up my little. What else? Ticket prices. Anyway, I remember $1,100 a ticket, and that's average. That's not the good seats. Those are nosebleed seats. Woo! $1,100 a ticket. Go in there and listen to probably a 3-hour concert, which is, I mean, the lady works for it, and her fans are like over the hill. I mean, over the top. Woof, God, just and the heck, there she is. This is the Reputation Stadium tour. That's not the recent tour, but I just uh, did some screen captures, the different poses, facial. She's actually quite stunning. Yeah, she dresses up good, as they say. This photo here, I did a concert, and I was down low in the pit, and the camera would get right over on the edge of the stage, and I could shoot right up. A shot like this, taken with a very good camera. Hairs on her neck right here. Oh, God. That's great. When you get individual hairs like that, you know, her hairs aren't any thicker than ours. All around here, you can see that. Good. Really stunning. Yep. Changing topics rather quickly. There's a new update for iOS 16.5, the 234 megabyte update, which probably has, bug fixes. This is probably more of a security update than a feature update. Yep, there's Maryland with a road with a nose. Is AI the end of photography as we know it today? I don't think so. Look, we have all kinds of computer algorithms that are used in Photoshop. I mean, the power of Photoshop Express is just spectacular. So, I mean, AI has been helping photography for dozens of years, a dozen years, particularly since the advent of the iPad, the iPhone, the iPad. Okay, well, DeSantis is trying to stay in the press with free advertising. Middle school students cannot start earlier than 8 a.m. and high school students can't start earlier than 8:30. Okay, not too sure what. I guess it's just a you get the 6:30 and 7. When it's dark out. It's just a little easier on. Police and protection. I don't have any weasels running around the street in the dark. There's some little weasels. Well, we're getting this in the engineering community is known as pencils down. It's May, June, July, August, September. This is when they pull the plug from the engineers. Pencils down. We're going to production. No more little changes. They've had some dry runs. Some it's like starting up the presses. They produce 100 phones, then they produce 1,000 phones before they push the switch where they start producing millions of phones because they don't want to have you know too much of a problem uh, and have 2 million phones already produced. They got to go back and fix that maybe. Assuming it's a hardware thingy. Anyway, so assuming pencils down, uh, iPhone 15 Plus uh, is said to have a 48 million pixel camera. Imagine 48 million pixels in a camera that's the size of a pea, literally the size of an average pea. This little black dot on here is bigger than the camera. Not the whole thing, just that black dot. No, that's a huge pea. We're talking a standard size pea. That's the size of the camera. And then you have another piece sitting on top of the pea, which is the lens. And that's what's in there because both pieces have to fit in the phone. That's this wide. Whoops. Just turn on the light. There we go. So the miniaturization, the engineering, the capability of, I think the imager is made by Sony, actually. uh, Apple doesn't make their own imagers. They go out into the marketplace and say, okay, who's got the best, really small 48 megapixel camera? So that's the latest rumor on the the ultimate resolution of one of the cameras of the three in here. According to a Hong Kong based investment firm. Turn the sound down for a minute. Turn this thing so it faces my face. There we go. Trying to keep You know, yeah, I have the ability to turn this up. This, uh, hello. Oh, just so you know, it can, it really has a pretty, is a very sensitive microphone. There we go. So when we talk into it, we don't want it to get in the red zone. We want to just peak with a little bit of yellow. So I can see uh, on my screen here, I don't know if it's possible to see it. Let's, you can see the view. Oh, yeah. Ooh. Hello. 1, 2, 3. See that? The green, and then it goes yellow every once in a while. That's Jimmy. That's the Rodecaster Pro multi-track volume that's coming out of this little sucker. And we have my royalty-free music in the background. I love listening to this. So I was hoping you guys would like it too. Too loud, I can just hit my soundboard here. You can't see it. But my phone is telling me that my blood sugar is going to end in 54 minutes. What time is it? Ooh, it's 4:07. So at 5 o'clock, as soon as it goes dark. That's all right. I'll put another one in. There can be gaps. I have to, one, yeah. I used to like have this one go over and that one go on. Drive myself crazy. So there we go. So we can really go right down my throat. Ooh. All right, 48 megapixel camera. I was wondering, with this spectacular device, what could they possibly add to it to make it something where I'd want to upgrade this year? Because I thought this was like, over the top. Well, I guess I have to go for the 48 megapixel camera. And is that in there? No. Plus, plus, on one of these cameras, it's uh, they have the periscope lens situation where the light goes in. It's a prism that shoots the light this way, and then the lenses can go back and forth inside the body of the camera instead of having a thing that you know, protrudes this way. So it's inside the camera where the when that happens. Uh, they got two choices. Oh, here it is. Yeah, right, right smack in front of me. Oops. I have to put it on here though, or else you can't see what I'm looking at. Yeah, there you go. Let's put Jimmy in the corner. Gotta touch that in the corner anywhere. I have to add me to it. There I am. I'm in the corner. So I can move the school. Maybe I can move it anywhere I want. Yeah, just put it there. Kind of out of the way. So, but oh god, light comes in, hits the mirror, and then goes right to the image. And in between are all the lens elements that would be like in your typical telephoto lens. Zoom. This is a zoom lens. Reported to be a 6 zoom lens. That periscope lens will be available exclusively on the iPhone 15 Pro Max. Finally received independent confirmation. Aha. Well, I was wondering when they'd get around to that. Now the question is, yeah, there's going to be 3 of these, there's going to be 4 of these. Uh, okay, so that's it for that. It's back to Taylor Swift. I was so happy to I have a link on, I think it's iPad. You know, right to one of her earlier albums, and it's really great. You know, so refreshing it is. Some talent that gets, you know, it's not hardcore. It's just like, oh, so here's a camera with a, you know, here's a camera with a, you know, a high powered lens on it, 50 millimeter. So instead of having, you know, the camera and then this lens, the lens is sideways in the phone, so it doesn't take up any, you know, it's still pocket camera. I know my camera people tell me that the best camera there is the camera that you have with you. There's no sense in having a super duper looper looper camera and it's sitting on top of a file cabinet in your office. What camera do you have in your pocket? All right, here's the story about these two. They're coming out through wherever they were, and they're cutting through Hertz. I guess they parked like behind the shopping center or something, or from whatever kind of gala event. She's dressed in an evening gown. Yeah, I mean, you know, she's not chump change herself. She was making a couple million a year on on the Suits show. You know, as a lawyer, she played female lawyer. Very good one. And there's Prince. There's Harry. He's a pretty cool guy. Pretty cool. So they were saying that they were chased by paparazzi. They had all these encounters in Manhattan and high speed chase. And of course, the mayor of Manhattan says, wait a minute. Does high speed chase mean 15 miles an hour instead of 5? We've tripled the speed. Oh, hey, on priestess. Yeah. Uh, so, you know, 2 hour high speed chase through Manhattan. No. Where do they think they are? In Tuscany of Italy or something? Yeah. Yeah, you're watching too many, yeah, what do they call it? James Bond movies. No, no high speed chase in Manhattan, buddy. But I'm sure he's all upset. His mother died in a high speed paparazzi chase, and that was a high speed, somewhat high speed. And the guy driving the car turns out he's got like almost triple the alcoholic limit. 0.24, if I remember right. This is 30 something years ago. Ugh, Princess Diana got, got taken from us because she was dating an Audi prince. The one thing that I'm sure uh, you have these backroom guys, Her Majesty's royalty, and the royalty just didn't want to have to deal with the former wife of Prince Charles, who's now king, going out with an Arab. That's is an Arab. Use his name. Bigotry is it runs in all colors and all. That's the one thing that Harry, I guess, is trying to say here. That you know, there's bigotry in all of us. Don't kill yourself. And I believe, look, put a little necklace on my pillow. On Marilyn's, this is actually Marilyn's little ladybug. I use it to wipe off my screens. It's kind of dirty. Anyway, so that's why that picture's there. Because Prince Harry and Markle. She's a happy, cheery, attractive lady. And so is he. So, meet Jimmy Butler's stunning girlfriend, Caitlin, as the Heat stun the Celtics in game one. Bang! Phew. My favorite left-handed golfer. There he is. Took me a while to figure out who's who, but this is the champions game or something. And here's Sardella. He has his left hand free because so he can talk and wave. So these are all prior winners of the Tournament of Champions. Sports World reacts to the awkward photo of Phil Mickelson, which is right behind this guy here, in front of him, who's, PGA, PGA senior guys. So what is he supposed to do? Hide around the column and say, "Well, I can't walk near him because it would look baloney." They're all going to dinner. They just had the cocktails up there, and now they're walking over to have dinner. Meet Jimmy Butler's stunning girlfriend, Caitlin. All right, let's see. 123 to 116. Phew. She's apparently 33-year-old. Last name is Nowak. 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 Caitlin Nowak. Nowak. Oh, me. That's my white towels that I use in the kitchen. Uh-huh. 100 of them or 200 of them in the dryer. It took 2 tries. They should be piping hot now. Okay. I couldn't. It says here it was spotted in a Super Bowl. I couldn't find them. There she is. Pretty attractive. I've taken a lot of pictures, and that is a very attractive face. And I'm not talking about the white face with the little nose over there. No, I'm talking about pussy galore, not the little pussy cat. She is really good. I did work a little bit on this photo because it was very, it was, had a haze to it. Well, it don't have a haze to it now. All right, Caitlin North, known as Kate, born December 13, 1990. Okay. California. Mixed race woman, half Polish and half American. All right, half Polish. That could be any of us. I'm half of this and half of that. You know, I'm a mixed breed here myself. European, you know, my father immigrated here, or my grandparents immigrated here. Okay, first to my father, then I guess in Manhattan. Uh, yeah, I couldn't get my father to talk a lot about those early years. And now that everyone's gone, I probably should have, you know, stepped up to the table and found out what's going on. Uh, Can't ask them now. They're, yeah, all their memories are erased. But my father, one story that my mother talked of when my father wasn't around, she wouldn't do it in his company. You know, it's like it was a real serious thing for him. And so she only told me the story when he was somewhere else. And as the story goes, the Bolsheviks in 1915, 1916 came all the way to Manhattan to seek out my grandparents because they were part of the Russian aristocracy. And they didn't like it when the aristocracy fled to all over the world to basically take cover from these, because everyone got murdered, you know, kill everybody. There is not going to be any Russian aristocracy. We're going, not only, you're not allowed to just run away, we're going to kill you and any family members we can find. So these people like so scattered, you know. Woo. I mean, it was, well, that was my grandparents. Now, maybe they fled with my father when he was, you know, 4 years old. Is that possible? 4 or 5 years old? 3, 4, 5. Anyway, by the time he was 9, in 1918, the Bolsheviks found my grandparents and 2 shots in each killed them. My my mother, father had excuse me, my father hide under the bed while the Bolsheviks were killing his parents. He was 9, orphaned at 9. So he grew up on the streets of Manhattan, you know, as one of these kids that had no parents. And he changed his name to Wilson, not actually the family name. My mother would not tell me the actual family name in fear of reprisal. The Bolsheviks come and murder me. So that piece of history goes in the toilet. And I did one of these ancestry.com, submit your DNA. My mother would have had a friggin' heart attack. Don't tell anybody. Yeah. But you could see the whole, back to Europe and Russia and all that. All that's in my blood. You can see it, isn't it? Oh God, whew, amazing. Couldn't couldn't come up with a name though. The DNA isn't that good. Someday it will do that. There'll be so many entries to the registry of these DNA databases that you run your DNA and whoosh, it'll pull up where you were born, what your parents looked like, what your grandparents looked like, you know, just like on Star Trek. But we're not there yet. As far as I know. All right. More Android users switch to iPhone than you might expect, and probably that the Android users would admit to. I tell you what, I was never so surprised. One day I went over with Marilyn to Fort Myers, and Bob's sitting there, looking like he's just ate. It's like the cat who just ate the canary. He's sitting there with some little yellow feathers hanging out of his mouth. I said, Bob, you look a little sheepish. What's going on here? So it turns out he switched from Android. He loved to play Android and all the neat little things you could do and tinker. Apple, very closed system. Not a lot of tinkering allowed. Anyway, so apparently the migration. So I understand. As I said, let's see what it says here. They have numbers, and they're good numbers. This is not the numbers I'm looking for. But what I think I remember reading is that, yes, 15% of all iPhone buyers were Android people last couple of years. And a couple of years before that, it was 10%. It has now risen to 15%. And why? Because these things are so good and they're so safe. That you don't get worms and viruses and all that stuff in Apple devices. They just, the bad guys don't want to take the time to try to bust into uh, the closed Apple iOS, the little I OS. the I operating system. So you got iOS for iPhones, you got iOS, you know, for iPads, and you got iOS uh, for iPhones, iPads, and these guys. You know, these are the look at that. See that? This is, we're gonna partner with the. You want to partner with the iPad or what? Look at this terrible. But that's what I mean. So all you got to do is open that case up, and the iOS operating system says, "Go ahead, partner with me," and then you can listen to whatever I can deliver to you. All right, here's a little story. How to buy your dream digital SLR that you've always wanted. Is it going to be a Canon, an Nikon, a Sony, or there's nothing Nikon? Well, I got news for you. I've tried all three a lot of years ago, and the reason why I went to Canon, um, let's say 20 years ago, was it produced the best color. Okay, regardless of what film you use, the colors. Well, wait a minute. When the digital cameras came out, what was that? Like 15 years ago, the images from the Canon digital cameras. It wouldn't be 20 years ago. It would be uh, yeah, about 15 years ago. Then the other thing was when you go on field to take pictures, sporting events, you had to have those Canon lenses, those big beige lenses with the red bands on them. Reuters wouldn't take if you had Nikon equipment, you couldn't shoot for Reuters. They wouldn't take your pictures. You had to, basically sign an affidavit saying that this came from whatever the hell your camera was. And if it said Sony or Nikon, they didn't have the lenses. Nikon made a decision 15 years ago. We are going to make our cameras for the soccer moms, and we'll let Canon have the few professional photographers there are out there, the millions of us. But they're like, 50 million soccer moms. So that's what Nikon did. Well, even in spite of that, Canon is a much, much bigger company than Nikon. Nikon is actually not so big a company. It's like maybe 15% of Canon. And that's why Canon can have an imager factory. They call them foundries, an imager foundry. And they could actually engineer their own pixels, and their own chips. They had their own chip foundry. Whereas Nikon farmed it out to Sony because Nikon had no ability to have an imager foundry. So Sony made all their imagers. So I've had Nikon cameras and Sony cameras, and these skin colors just aren't right. They're a little this or that, a little too purple. I don't know. But the Canon, right out of the camera, the skin tones were just spot on. And if you're taking thousands of pictures, you know, and between Marilyn and I, we could take 1,500 pictures in a day. Working, a football game. Pre-game, post-game, and the game. So, I didn't want to fight the battle of trying to correct all these images. So I figured, you know what? The Canon imager is like right there. You know, most of the news agencies wanted Canon lenses, those big beige lenses. Well, now Sony is starting to make beige lenses, so like they're trying to trick you. No, I'm sure the Sony lenses are, Sony's no joke. That's a big company too, uh, and they make wonderful imagers. I think they make the imagers in the iPhone. But see, if the color is just a little, they can adjust that in the software. Uh, Whereas Jimmy can't do that in the software. I mean, he can one by one, but I mean, it drives you crazy. So, but they can have it in the algorithm of the output of the imager, so that the skin tones are spot on, because the what they did to augment the image to make it look just right was done by the computer corrections, and it's all built right into the imager. So when it pops off the imager, it's already color corrected. So that's what happens inside an iPhone. But, all right, 59 minutes and 4 seconds. So I think we've had enough for today, and we'll get on to. Uh, oh yeah, we'll get on to this topic tomorrow. Real estate market plummets in Palm Beach County. It's about time it started to plummet, because it's been up, 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 up. I happen to have a bunch of sheets here. We'll talk about this too. My apartment rent, and I'm a numbers guy, right? I like to understand why I do things. So this is a 5-year lease summary of. I've been here 11 years, so I'd take the last 5 lease years, and I have the statistics right here in the middle of the page. And if they increase my rent by $300 a month, in October, but I'll see it in July. So this is May, June. So I'm 60 days early from having to screw with this. But one of our friends just got a $600 increase. The patio is like huge, and they didn't build in the price of the patio into the unit. I know that, because I know the prior renter for that unit was a hairdresser friend of mine, Paul Brickwitz. Anyway, so her rent went way up because the patio adjustment. She's got like a 1,500 square foot apartment and a 1,500 square foot patio. It goes all the way around the corner of the building. Huge patio. Yeah, I mean, you just gonna have 60 people on her patio and a cocktail party. You could, cater it and all that kind of stuff. You could easily have 50 or 60 people on that patio, and then you'd have 10 or 20 people floating around in the kitchen and the bathrooms and so forth. So I don't have that big a patio. Our patio is 20 feet by 7 feet. Okay. 1,510 square feet. 1515. I got it right here. 1515. And so that's, I can see. Where is it? Wow. But gum. So I did all these different. Yeah, so let's just figure 300. Just for, you got to figure something. So I figured I went up $50, increments. Once you do one, it's easy. All I got to do is change this one number here, whoosh, and this whole page gets redone. This red number right there. I put 250 in there. Make it 350 to 300. Whoosh, the whole page changes. The miracles of pages, numbers. This would be numbers. Numbers. Anyway, so that we'll talk about another day. Maybe tomorrow we may do something more fun than that. There we go. I don't know if you've seen these. Look at this. Can you believe that? They're up. This whole thing is out of the water, and they're hydroplaning on this little doodad that's underneath it. Phew. I mean, there it is, right there. That's the bottom part. That's the handle. That's what it looks like when it's sitting in a studio taking pictures. They go 40, 50 miles an hour. But you're riding under the waves, presumably. So you get a 1 foot wave, chop, chop, and you're riding on top of because this part is under the water. I don't see how it's powered. Well, I guess, yeah, see here, you get all kinds of up, down, plug-in, up, down, little lights. So there's lithium-ion cells in there, no doubt. And it comes down here with, wires and feeds this jet pump. It's technology and the use of computer data design to have this thing and this little thing right here, the exact right, angles to make it ride properly with a 200-pounder on top. Yeah. Flight scooter. That's what that looks like. F-L-I-T-E scooter. I'll have to look that up. I bet you they're $10,000 a copy. Woo! All right. Well, we'll talk about that another day. And now it's 4:42, and Jimmy's gonna finish up here. Have a nice evening. See you tomorrow.